Ray Dalio just published his 2025 economic summary. That way you can be prepared as an investor in 2026. The part that caught a lot of headlines was when Ray Dalio said the AI stocks were entering a bubble. Take a read. The AI boom is now in the early stages of a bubble. But if you actually read his report, what you'll see is that his biggest concerns are not an AI bubble or a recession, it's the United States dollar collapsing. Let me explain. In 2025, the United States dollar fell about 0.3% when you compare it against the Japanese yen currency. The United States dollar fell by around 4% when you compare it to the Chinese yuan currency. The United States dollar fell by around 12% when you compare it to the euro currency. It fell by around 13% when you compare it to the Swiss franc, and it fell by around 39% when you compare it to the United States dollar. And this is the concern that Ray Dalio was highlighting, that the United States dollar is losing value not just to other currencies, but to gold, which is the second largest reserve currency in the world, and it's the largest non-fiat based currency in the world. Now, this is where your investing strategy becomes very important in 2026 because we're seeing a lot of changes. We're seeing changes with the Federal Reserve Bank and how they make policies regarding our money. We're seeing changes that President Trump is making in regards to economic policy in the United States, and then we have AI and technology that's evolving faster than ever, and that's why, again, I'm doing a live, free, and virtual workshop on January 13th, 2026, where I'm going to be going over how these changes create new and unique investment opportunities for you. So if you're an investor, I invite you to join me on this live, free, and virtual workshop. I'm doing it twice on January 13th, 2026, once in the morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and again in the evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But you do have to register. If you haven't done so yet, I have the link for you down in the description below. And if you haven't registered yet, make sure you do soon because we have a limited number of people that can actually join me live. Last year in 2025, the stock market called the S&P 500 grew by around 16%. The S&P 500 is a group of the 500 largest companies in the stock market, but when you compare that to gold, it doesn't sound so good because gold prices in 2025 grew by around 65%. Now, this is where you want to understand the good, the bad, and kind of the ugly. Because gold is a commodity. It is a metal. It doesn't have a lot of value that it has to be used in our economy. It has to be used in manufacturing. It has to be used in technology. Gold has value because people buy gold when they don't believe in the value of the dollar. So people use gold kind of like an insurance as hedge. And people buy gold when they're concerned about the value of their money dropping. And there's only been a few times in our history where we've seen gold prices exceed the rate of the stock market. We saw it happen during the Great Depression. We saw it happen in the early 1970s when we were facing the great stagflation and the great inflation crisis of the early 1970s. We saw it happen during the dot-com bubble bursting of 2000. We saw it happen during the great financial crisis during 2008. And then we saw it happen during the 2020 pandemic, and now we're seeing it happen again. So every time we've seen gold prices outpace the stock market in the last 100 years, it generally meant something was not good. And it's usually not good because people are concerned about the economy, so they don't want to invest in stocks which are actively working to produce value, because when you invest in Amazon, the Amazon company is working to produce more profits. They're working to produce more products. They're working to produce more things that are going to produce value, versus gold is not. Gold is there as a hedge, as an insurance, because people are concerned about inflation. And when I say inflation, I mean the value of the dollar dropping. So they want to own this as a hedge against that. And when this hedge is growing faster than actual assets that are working to produce value, that's where investors like Ray Dalio have concerns. Now, if we don't know who Ray Dalio is, again, he is the founder of Bridgewater, which is the largest hedge fund in the world. And this is where things really start to get interesting, because what Ray Dalio says is when the dollar drops in value, it makes investments look better than they appear, like the stock market. Let me show you how the stock market performed when you look at it outside of just United States dollars. The S&P 500 grew by around 16% when you compare it to the United States dollar, but when you compare it to the Japanese yen, now it only grew by around 15%. When you compare it to the Chinese yuan, now it grew by around 11%. But when you compare the S&P 500 to the euro, now it only grew by 4%. When you compare the S&P 500 to the Swiss franc, now it only grew by 3%. And if you were buying the S&P 500 with your currency, which was gold, well, now you lost 23%. See, the stock market can only grow based off of the currency that you're investing in it with. And in the United States, yes, we saw the stock market rise. But what Ray Dalio is saying is part of the reason why the stock market rose so much isn't just that stocks are making more money, but it's because that the dollar was losing money. And that's the part that he says that a lot of people are overlooking. But that's not all. One of the things that Ray Dalio says is we've been touting this huge growth of the stock market in the United States in 2025, but what he says is a lot of these international stock markets actually outpaced the United States stock market, and we're not seeing that. According to Ray Dalio, European stocks outpaced the United States stock market by 23%. Chinese stocks outpaced the stock market by 21% in the United States. The UK stock market outpaced the US stock market by 19%. The Japanese stock market outpaced the United States stock market by 10%. And emerging markets outpaced the US stock market by 34%. Now, a big topic of discussion in the United States stock market has been AI, and are AI stocks a bubble? This is one of the things I'll be talking about in my live investor workshop, which again, if you haven't registered for yet, make sure you do so. But what Ray Dalio says about the AI bubble is that yes, we are entering the early stages of a bubble because valuations are ahead of where we are in reality. And a lot of media started to pick up this headline that AI is in a bubble because of Ray Dalio, because of what he's saying. But I want to be fully clear and transparent here that what Ray Dalio says is that the AI stocks are entering bubble territory, but that he wants to talk about it later. Let me read you what he said exactly. I will soon send out an explanation of what my bubble indicators are showing, so I won't get into that subject now. I say that way you don't get caught up in just the headlines that a lot of people are posting on the internet. Now, based off of this information, when you're trying to come up with your own investing thesis as to where you should be investing your money, what Ray Dalio says is that he is paying attention to 5 things, and you may want to do the same. And what they are number 1, paying attention to debt, money, and the economy. Number 2 is internal domestic politics. Number 3 is geopolitics. Number 4 is active nature. Number 5 is technology. Starting with debt, money, and the economy, what he means by that is understanding what is happening to the value of what we call money. Because we know that the dollar is losing value. And paying attention to how debt plays a part into that, because we know that the United States has about $38 trillion worth of national debt. And that number is not slowing down. And to really understand the importance of that, you have to see, is our national debt growing or is our economy growing faster? Because if we live in an economic system where we're constantly borrowing money to pay out our bills, and not just that, we're growing our debt faster than our economy, that's going to create problems, not just for the economy, but also for the currency. That's why he's very concerned about the dollar losing value. And right now, the United States government is able to stimulate our economy so much because, well, we live in a credit-based economy. Every year, the United States government is the largest spender in our economy. And they are spending trillions of dollars that they don't have because our economic system has become reliant on it. And they're only able to do that because the dollar is the world's reserve currency. If we were to lose that status as the world's reserve currency, the government might not be able to print as much money because that would create a lot more problems. And we know that if the government were to cut spending today, they'd have to cut programs. They'd have to cut government contracts. They'd have to cut employees. And we know that that can be painful. So paying attention to the national debt, what's going on with that, especially when you compare it to the economy, because that's going to help tell you what's going on with your currency in the future. Number 2 is politics, and more specifically what he's talking about is domestic politics. When you start to see a bigger divide between people on the right and people on the left, that then creates weakness inside of the country because now people are fighting internally as opposed to fighting externally. And when you have more fighting internally, that can then weaken inside of that country. That's what he says you want to pay attention to because other countries may try to take advantage of that. And you could also then see economic policies passed, which could be not so good for the health of the long-term economy. Then, of course, is geopolitics. This is something that has been a very hot topic for the last number of years with things like Venezuela, with things like Russia, with things like China. Because now these things can impact not just the economy, but it can also impact wars that are happening in the world, and that can also impact spending, because unfortunately, wars are a big business. And so that can impact where money is flowing, and that can also change investment opportunities. Then we have number 4, acts of nature. And what he's talking about specifically are things like climate change, because that can change how money is spent and where money is spent, especially as to do with things like energy. And that can also shift investment opportunities. And finally is technology. We've been talking about AI a lot, and this shift in technology can create opportunities, but it can also create opportunities to lose money. And that's the thing that you want to pay attention to. AI is a big wealth shift, the biggest that we've really ever seen in my lifetime, because it is evolving bigger than the internet, faster than the internet, and in more ways than the internet. And that is going to change our economy. And that creates a lot of opportunity. But with that shift can also build bubbles. And those bubbles can come with economic pain. And if you don't have the financial savviness to understand how to take advantage of bubbles, of how not to lose your money, how not to panic, and how to find opportunities, well, then you could be the one that's paying the price. So these are the things you want to pay attention to. Now, based off of what Dalio says, let me talk about a couple of different potential investment opportunities that you may want to consider if you agree with what he's saying. Now, again, I can't tell you what to invest in because number one, I'm just a random guy on YouTube. Number two, I'm not a financial advisor. And number three, personal finance is personal. You got to do what's right for you. Investing is risky. You are never guaranteed to make money when you invest. In fact, you will lose money at some point. So make sure you always do your own due diligence and never blindly trust a random guy on YouTube. But here are a few examples that if you agree with what Dalio is saying, there are a couple investment opportunities that you may want to consider. Number one is gold. Because like we've been talking about, Dalio is talking about the concerns of the dollar losing value. And when the dollar loses value, that generally, not always, but generally causes the price of gold to go up. Now you can invest in physical gold, but you can also get exposure to gold from paper contracts using ETFs. One example is GLD, that's an ETF that will give you exposure to gold. Another one is IAU, another ETF that can give you exposure to gold. Option number two is broad international exposure. Here in the United States, you have the ability to invest into the broad international economy through ETFs in the United States stock market. Here are a couple examples. Number one is VEU. This is an ETF that's created by Vanguard that's giving exposure to the Vanguard All World ex-United States ETF, giving exposure to international stocks outside of the United States. And then another one is VXUS. This is an ETF, again, created by Vanguard that is giving you exposure to the total international stock ETF. Then last but not least is getting more niche and global by investing in specific areas in the international economy. Here are a few examples. Number one is VGK. This is an ETF that will give you exposure to the European markets and the European stock market. Then we have EWJ. This is an ETF that'll give you exposure to the Japanese stock market if you believe that that is an area that you want to be invested in. And then finally, we have MCHI, which is an ETF that will give you exposure to the broad Chinese economy and Chinese stock market if that's an area that you want to be invested in. So what Dalio is talking about is that he saw in 2025 the biggest concern is not the AI bubble, but the value of the dollar dropping. And by value of the dollar dropping, he means relative to other currencies around the world and especially gold. And this is where when you hear the news that the stock market has grown in 2025, what he's saying is, yeah, it grew, but part of the reason why it grew is because the dollar lost value, so it doesn't give you the full picture as to what the stock market is doing. And when you take a look at the stock market relative to other currencies in the world, it doesn't look as hot. And when you look at the stock market relative to gold, now, it doesn't look like a very good investment, and this is where he has talked about 5 different things that you want to pay attention to as you put together your investing thesis, your investing proposal, and that is understanding debt, money, and the economy, understanding what's going on with the political nature of where you are investing your money, understanding geopolitics and how that can impact your investments, understanding the acts of nature, things like climate change, and then, of course, understanding technology, the opportunities that can come with technology, and the risks that come with technology. And then we talked about if you believe this and if you wanted to invest in this, where are different ways that you can invest. We talked about investing in gold, whether it's physical gold or ETFs. We talked about investing into the broad international market. And then we also talked about getting more niche into the international markets by finding ETFs that can give you exposure to a particular country or a particular region around the world that you believe is a good investment for you. Now, if you got value out of this video, the best thank you is a referral. So if you could, please share this video with a friend, family member, colleague, or fellow investor. That way we can continue to spread this type of financial education. Thank you. On December 1st, 2025, the Federal Reserve Bank flipped their economic policy by ending QT. What that means in plain English is the Fed went from trying to remove extra money from our economy to now printing more money. How do I know? Because on December 2nd, one day after the Fed ended QT, the Fed printed 13.5